What is going on? It is go time. This is Mortar Mike, and this is another Watcher of Realms video. Today, we are here for one thing and one thing only, and that's to address the Immortal Codex. We're going to be talking about the Sands of Wrath, the Wasteland Titan. We did the first video with Ivy League Gaming. She was amazing. We did a collaboration. We talked about artifact and champion combos that were great for the Conqueror. Now, the video you can see on my page, and we also did a collaboration on her page. Aha, I've been practicing. I'm going to get better at this. I've been practicing. Where we talked about champions that were usually hated and now they're great for the game, especially for Immortal Codex. You know, they were once, shunned upon. People were upset when they pulled them. Now they're glad to have them. Or they were on the same banner when another champ was on the banner, and now they got them and they're useful, like Aelin, for example. But now we have them. What I wanted to do today was I wanted to go over some combinations of the artifacts that are in game right now. There's only one epic I'm going to bring up that's worth mentioning: the Legendaries, and of course the Mythical ones. I want us to break down where they're valuable, who they're valuable on, and give a few examples of using them. And I'm going to tell y'all why this is important. Two reasons why this is important. Number one, you need to be getting these rewards inside of the redeem shop. I don't have a whole bunch of these credits, but that's completely okay. That's fine, because once this event ends, you see I only have 500 right now. Every score that you get is going to give you a big prize at the end of this. So each one of them has their individual rankings. So looking in the Conqueror right now, I'm S+. That's as best as I could get right now. I made a video for that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was a little more thorough, and the Lord of Styx is the most intense because you can try all champion classes in there. So that one's a little tougher, but this one, we got a few more days to do. I want to make sure you guys are equipped. You see ranking here. That's where I'm at right here. I'm at top 7%, woo-wah, boom, boom, bah. That's neat. Rewards is the most important reason you want to be doing this. So if you're in the top 10%, I'm getting 900 more of those credits, which allows me to buy more things in that shop. Also, I got a chance to essentially get a full ancient summon, 2 more rare summons, and 200k, 600k, my apologies. And that's just for that one. This is for the second one here. For some reason, it doesn't show them all at once. I don't know why. It's like a little bug. There it goes, shows them again. Wasteland, top 20%, almost another ancient summon. 2 more, 500k, 800, and in Lord of Styx, where I'm at right now, top 20. So that's almost 3 ancient summons if we're talking about the fragment stacking in the real ones. And that's just from min-maxing a little bit here and there, perfecting that team. And then what's great is the next time Immortal Codex comes out, you're well prepared to get great rewards, and then you can upgrade from there. So we're talking about only healers today, because that's all you really should be bringing out there. There's one minor exception, but we'll skip that for now. People are like, what's the minor exception? Trust me, it's very, very minor. Let's lay some ground rules first. First one, there's 2 ways to approach this content. One is to heal everyone and keep everyone alive as long as possible. The benefit of that option is that you have more damage happening in the initial phase. The challenge, of course, is harder to keep up. The other option is to heal the core Aeonas. Now, when I say core Aeonas, it's a total of 7 on stage. You want to try to focus on the 5 center ones. If you have the 5 center ones focused, the other 2 may die off, which means less damage from them. But if you can keep those other ones alive longer, you can go a little longer into the battle, into the end game, and you can keep it going. So it depends on which option you want to go with that. There's 3 important factors in this battle: heals, range, and debuff removal. You want to have champions that can do a variety of these things, excel in any of these areas, have amazing heals, have amazing range to reach multiple champs, and debuff removal. I want to say as well, this is not just for people that are min-maxing in the super end game. This is also great if you're starting this and you don't have all the great legendary champions, but you have some options, you have a few artifacts, you want to know what to do with them. That's what this video is for. You guys that are saying, hey, I don't have time to learn all of this stuff. Somebody present it for me. That's what Mortar Mike does. I got you situated. Next, you do want to know the difference between your champions that are attack-based and HP-based. A champion like a Vortex is an HP-based healer, whereas a champion like an Aelin is an attack-based healer. That means you put stats into her attack to do heavy heals, to do strong heals. Other champions like a Vortex would be an HP-based healer, so you put more stats into their HP for them to become strong healers. I will say this, as one caveat that's good to know. If you're not able to build strong amounts towards that stack, you can always go with healing effect for healers. It helps either way. So it's good to just have a fair amount of that in case you're not able to get the craziest HP bonus or the wildest attack stats. Healing effect does come into play to help as well. And that's where a lot of these artifacts shine also. You need to know which champions are AoE healers. You can see on Ayla's screen right now, she's an AoE healer, and which ones are single target healers. And also some AoE healers can only heal a certain amount at once. So it's good to know how many you can do it. So take that into consideration when you look at your champs. Are they single target? Are they multiple target? Are they attack? Are they HP? What's their heal strength? You know, what's their range and can they remove debuffs? Right now, there's only like 3 or 4 champions in the game that can remove debuffs. There's Madan, who's very easy to pull. There's Elwyn, who's very challenging to pull. I think Aaron is a healer, if I'm not mistaken, but he can debuff. He could take like 1 debuff off. We're not talking about him. And Desomi, who is a chaotic healer, so she doesn't heal to full health. She's useful in this. I use her actually, and she does a pretty good job. But I would recommend you explore your other options first that can remove debuffs if you have them. Of course, she's hard to get, so that's that's beside the point. I heard a rumor. This is an interesting one. This is the exception I wanted to show. This is not an ideal option, so hear me out here. This is just if you have it and you can apply it. There is a champion, is a defender. Of course, it's a Lord champion. King Hars has the ability to help in this. He does not make this easy street. Let me be clear. But there are a lot of healers in the Northerners faction. Should you have this guy, here's the benefit. I wouldn't recommend it. I'll be honest, I won't recommend it. The damage just becomes too great in this content. But that being said, the bonus defense to shielded faction allies is nice, and they get a 30% shield and a 20% increase in their defense, which is not bad. So champions like a Gwendolyn or like a Sadie or like a Vortex and Madan, I wouldn't recommend Lightlock. This, unless you're out of options, this is really the place for him. But they'll get a 30% shield and a 20% increase in defense. So that's just something to know. I don't even know if you can put them on the ground, but you can have them in your team. I would personally much rather have a healer in the play. Healers do more work. And I don't know how often that shield's coming. So it sounds neat, but I would probably say in practical use, it's probably not the best option. Let's get over here into this Forge. And if you ever wanted to see all of them in here, you can click Forge Preview, which is in the bottom middle of the screen. If you go into Void Rift, oh, that reminds me. I have a chance to get in the Mythical right this second. Let me see. I meant to start the video with this because I might have something nice. Let's see if we get something nice. Claim them all. I get enough Spirit Siphons on this game, y'all. My gosh. Okay, nice. 3 summons there too. Ooh, nice piece of gear. All right, cool. The first one we're going to talk about, Brightroot Ring. When I initially thought about Brightroot Ring, I didn't think it was a really good option, but rather than make a video that says this is trash, don't use it, I want to say where it's good. Because if you have it and you just hear it's trash, you're going to assume it's not useful for you to use in this game, and there are many cases where it is. These are going to be particularly in Immortal Codex. You can apply them in other areas too, but I'm thinking of Immortal Codex in mind here. This is what I'm keeping in mind here. When HP is at maximum, it increases healing effect by 30. So that's an extra 30 stats to your healing effect, which is decent. It's usable. It's useful if you have an ultimate ability that is powerful. Somebody like an Aelin that has a really strong heal. I would recommend her for something like the Brightroot Ring. It's also useful for both single target healers like an Ezreal, because he has snipe heals, they're really strong, they hit really hard. And it is also useful for AoE healers because you can apply it to multiple targets at once. The caveat is that you have to make sure that you get back to full health quickly. So somebody like an Elwyn or Aelin again, or Madan are really good AoE options for Brightroot Ring. I think it's good now that I've tried it a little bit. I tried it with Madan. She's been actually, for some reason, she always gets healed very quickly, probably because a lot of healers are aimed at her. So the end thing is I give her Brightroot Ring and she does a little bit back out in return. It helps. It's really nice. Next up is one of my personal favorites, Tia's Balm. Increases healing multiplier by 30% when healing a hero with less than 30% HP. This is ideal for HP-based healers. There's only a few in the game, it's not a lot. Why do I say not attack-based healers? For the most part, most attack-based healers are built a little less tanky. They don't have stats invested in the HP, so they have a lot less HP to lose and they're more likely to die first. This helps save attack-based healers, I'll say that. It's great for champions like a Sadie, who's HP-based, Vortex, and Madan. All three of them are HP-based healers. Sadie, I wouldn't look at Sadie as being like a really strong healer, but her ultimate and it being leveled up makes her a really amazing asset to this. When they're low health, you have a chance to save them. That's why you want them on your tankier champions, because normally when your tankier champions are the only ones left, or other champions need to be healed, your tankiers are the most likely to be the ones doing the heal, and your attack ones might die. So you just completely lose that ability altogether. This is probably my second favorite. It has almost nothing to do with healing, but Euphoric Orb. This is good because it increases the attack speed of all heroes in range by 30 every 60 seconds, lasting for 10 seconds. And that duration actually goes up. So as it scales up, the duration lasts longer. So if I go to Enhance, in the top right, I click Promote. That allows me to see an idea of where it scales up to. You see it's for 15 seconds, so it lasts longer. So very nice. Very nice. That makes that last a little bit longer. It's just a small increase in speed. You want to put this on. Now this is just what I've been using for something else in the game, but you want to focus on putting an ability like this on healers with wide ranges because it applies to all of them. There's not a limitation to it, which is really nice. So champions like your Vortex, your Hollow, your Percy, who's also on the banner this weekend, is really good. Gwendolyn, she has a very wide range. There's something good you can do with that. I want to look more into Percy's kit. She seems to be lovely for this Immortal Codex. I may do it at the end of this video. If I don't do it at the end of this video, I'll make a separate video on her. I think she's actually pretty feasible for Immortal Codex. I'll say that. Some other content should be good in too, but Codex is where I'm focused on. You know this. Elysian Epitaph. This one increases healing effect for single targets, ST meant single target, by 3% for every one ally unit present in range, stacking up to 4 times. This is wonderful for this content. This is great for single target healers because it only works on single target healers. So it maxes out easily in this battle because there's so many allies nearby. It does not work with AoE healers, so make sure that you equip properly. Don't just put it on the AoE heal and wonder why it's not doing anything special, because that's not the type of heal they do. And so it's basically zero effort, zero benefit on them. So it's good to know. Now, my very favorite of all of them right now is going to be Golden Scarab. Doesn't even say anything special about heals, but attack increases by 5%, rage regen increases by 25%. This is wonderful for your attack-based healers because it can take advantage of both stat benefits that this gives, the attack and rage regen. Your HP base can't do much with that, with the attack bonus. It's amazing for attack-based healers, especially those with powerful ultimates or buff-inducing skills and ultimates. So this would be wonderful for, this would be wonderful again, I'm bringing it up again, on the new healer on the banner, Pharisee. This is good for Ezreal, this is good for Hollow, this is good for Vortex, etc. Basically, any attack-based healer can put this one to work. So I still think that you can use it for Vortex. The reason why I said Vortex in there is because Vortex gives a shield upon full heals, and that's a really useful ability in this content. It really helps save the day. So I would make that an exception for somebody like a Vortex. Next off, we're going to get into Legendaries. And surprisingly, there's some pretty good ones in Legendary. If you have the mythical equivalent or you have something that's mythical that's just amazing, I will recommend that. So I'm going to specify that, but I do think it's good to know what abilities you have in case you have the Legendary one, because there's some that I think are really, really good. Starting it off, the first one, Nineveh's Mercy. So when entering the field, increases healing effect by 10. This is just a flat benefit. It's useful if you have it. It's great because you know there's no stipulations to it. There's no negative offset. There's no, you have to meet other requirements. You just got to put the champion out and they automatically get it. That being said, it works on healers because of the healing effect, It's not HP or attack based, so it works universally, which is good. So it's versatile, but it tends to fall off towards the late game, towards the end game, compared to the abilities and like the stat boosts of the mythical versions. If I would have this, I would probably wait to invest into something mythical that would be more useful for the champions I have. But if you only have one, put a little bit into it. It'll give you some work. You know, this is helpful for the majority of the player base if they have this and they're wondering, is this thing even worth putting on my champion? If you don't have another option, yes, it is. Next up, Radiant Lantern. Increases AoE healing effect by 3 for every 1 ally unit in range, stacking up to 4 times. This is good for AoE healers, of course. It says it in the name. It says it in the description. This is a baby version of Elysian Epitaph, but it's for AoE healers. That's an interesting way to think about it. It's useful. You're always going to have heroes in range of you, so there's a good chance you can get the max benefit out of this. That being said, this one is worth leveling up if you don't have other options. I'm going to always repeat that because Mythicals are the other options. So it's good to know. Next up, we have Sacred Amber. Increases healing by 20, which sounds nice, but here's the caveat. Additionally, for each ally in range, reduces healing by 5. Do not use this in the Immortal Codex. Do not use this. You're literally cushioning. I almost said it, my tongue got ready for it. You're really cushioning your champion's healing ability. I don't know how far that reduce goes, but if you got 5 or 6 champions in your team, you just went down 10 by putting this on. So I wouldn't recommend this. I do know once it levels up, it may get a little bit less of a negation to the healing effect by having allies in range. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think you should kneecap your champion with an artifact that's not good for this kind of content. What is it good fit? What is it good for? Ezreal. Ezreal's really good with this because he can do this in Gear Rate 3. You could put him in one area, he could do a decent amount of heals, and then he could do a snipe heals, but I prefer to put him on the outskirts in case I want to have like a hollow on the field. He's good for that. I put him on the outskirts and let him heal like my Maul or my Nyx, and then he can heal the other person on the other side of the map and only have one target in range the entire time. So that's just something to mention, not useful here. Now here's one that surprised me. The North's Glory. Healing a unit to full HP, that's something important to remember. So it's gonna get a little challenging in there. You know that Wasteland Titan don't play. You don't play at all. So what does the North Glory do? Healing a unit to full HP, and I'm reading like right off the camera here because I wrote all my notes down. I don't wanna miss nothing. Healing a unit to full HP has a 20% chance of granting them a shield equal to 20% of their max HP for 10 seconds. The effect can only be triggered 1 time every 5 seconds. This is actually wonderful. This is actually very useful, especially if you're healing HP-based healers because they're tanky and so they have a good chance of getting a really hefty shield. It's also good for AoE healers because there's more chances to proc. If you notice, it said 20% chance. I'll check my inventory. I believe I have one. And let's see what that scales to. So that scales to have a higher chance of granting them a shield. So not bad. 25, 30, 35, 40, 45 may go to 50. I have not leveled these up very high, but that's not a bad option. The big issue that I have is it's every 5 seconds. That's why issue is the rate of triggering isn't great. You can just use Vortex's ultimate and time it properly, and you get essentially the same thing. My key, I will say this is a good tip for you guys who have Vortex. Do not run this thing in full auto. You can time it for some really good hints, really good benefits that can actually push your score up a little bit better. One thing I do when I use Vortex is I time his shields for just before the attacks land, just before the first of his 3 attacks land. That's when I put that's when I use his ultimate, because that's the longest duration that my champions got a chance to heal one another. So they're all to the closest to highest health they can get. And before he lands that strike, I do the heal, which gives a lot of them a chance to get a shield, which makes it even easier for them to survive the next 3 hits that are coming through. So that's just something interesting to know. That's a pro tip for you guys. It's not even an artifact tip, but time your heals. They actually do matter in this. Even with Madan's heal, I use her ultimate after they've done the 3 attacks because that's when the debuffs were applied. If you use it beforehand, the debuffs might just get applied in the middle of you doing heals. So something important to remember, you probably have a Madan, you probably have a Vortex. If you play this game for more than 6 hours, you probably have a vortex. If you don't have a vortex, put in a message in the comment. We will find some way to help you. I don't know what's going on. Next up, this one is probably my favorite. I can go right here for it. This is my favorite legendary one. This is the Watchguard's Fortune. Each basic attack launched equals to a 10% chance of crit rate to trigger 1 additional heal. This may sound confusing, but this means it has a 10% chance of getting an additional heal. You do not have to build crit rate for your healers. I don't think healers can even crit. If they could, I would crit rate all of them. But this means there's a 10% chance of throwing an additional heal. Not throwing an additional heal, healing the same target more than 1 time. So it doesn't mean that they throw 2 more, it doesn't mean they throw another attack out. It means that the attack that they throw has a 10% chance of healing a second time. This is lovely for one champion in particular. I'm going to just pull her off. It's worth finding. Nasande. She is lovely with this because she has bounce heals. But here's the other reason why this is important. If you read closely, it says each basic attack launched. Each basic attack launch, which means you need to pay attention to if it's a champion's basic attack that they're using. Thankfully, with Nasande, her ultimate, when triggered, increases the hero's healing multiplier by 20%, which is nice, and immediately heals all allies in range 1 time. She's also an attack-based healer, so that's not bad. For 25 seconds after the heal, each basic attack turns into a healing ball that can bounce 4 times. So it says there's still basic attacks, which means that it has a chance to heal more than 1 time with each one of those bounces. So that's really good for you to know. If you have champions, I haven't looked at the full list, but there are healers that have their basic attack augmented into doing something different, but it's still their basic attack. So that's where the Watchguard Fortune really comes in really nice. That's really good to come in handy. I wanted to show that one in particular because it's wonderful for her. And also another good reason why this is good to know. You may see this when you see Nasande. Here's something important to remember. If you have Nasande, this is the heal range that you see. This is not the limitation to her bounce heals. Her bounce heals can reach outside of that range, which is wonderful for this content because there's always somebody that needs healing. And so it's not, I wouldn't limit that range as her ultimate's distance. So it's good to know. The next one is Tumultuous Horn. It increases your initial range by 25% when deployed. You probably don't need to be using this in the Immortal Codex. I know it was great on Dolores. Dolores is not good for this part of the Immortal Codex. She does not do strong enough heals. And you never build her for tanking this, so she'll be gone in a heartbeat. But there's a caveat here. I will say this. This is only good for healers that come in with a high range built already, and they have an ultimate that can change the game in a heartbeat. So if you have any healers that have that, I don't really think there's a lot of them that come in with ultimates ready to go. That would be the only example that I would think that this would be good to use it, because if they die and they come right back, you could pop the ultimate and get some benefits out of that. But for the most part, I would not recommend Tumultuous Horn for this. If you're not worried about bringing the champion back when they die, they're gonna have all the rage they need when the actual boss rush starts. So just important to know. Next up, we have Chalice of Youth. Chalice of Youth isn't new. I think it's one of the newer ones, but not the newest batch that came out in the global server. This increases healing multiplier by 18% when healing a hero with less than 30 HP. That's not bad. It's a baby Tia's bomb, which does it at 30%. This is not a bad artifact to have, but knowing there's a mythical equivalent that's way better than this, I'm very mindful of how often I would use this or level it up. A baby Tia's bomb, it'll get the job done until you start getting Tia's bombs in your inventory. I only recommend, if you have these, leveling up 1. Just a little bit. I wouldn't even invest a whole lot of mithril into these because Tia's bombs drop left and right once you max out artifact material rate. This is good as a placeholder, but you're gonna get Tia's bombs, probably you do 50 pulls of artifact material rate at the max level, or 50 pulls of 10 pulls altogether from your mythical artifact stones, whatever they're called. And you're gonna get a Tia's bomb. It's almost like it's a prerequisite. It has to come in your pools. This is Nephrite Folio. This is a baby version of Brightroot Ring. When HP is at maximum, increases healing effect by 15. Brightroot Ring does it at 30. So good for you to remember. It does half the job of it. So I still think there's use to it because to my experience, Brightroot Ring seems to be a little more of a rare healing artifact. That's just my experience. I'll find out if there's some more, there's more stats to it. I think some people are making content that say, there's different rate drops for different ones, which is true because we all know Scarlet Hunt drops like every third mythical. Unless you're getting those triple spirit siphons. I mean, that happens too. But it's slightly rare to get Brightroot Ring, in my opinion, in my experience. I'll say that because I don't know the entire stats, but I typically pull less of these than Tia's Balm. Less of the Brightroot Rings than Tia's Balm. Next up, we have one of the brand new ones, which is Oneric Band. When the ultimate is triggered, increases attack by 8% and attack speed by 40 for 10 seconds. All right, so this scales into the attack. Now that being said, once it gets maxed, some of that other stuff may be adjusted. It may go for 60 seconds. No, not 60 seconds. It may go for 15 to 20 seconds. Attack speed may go up also. I haven't fully leveled it. But at the base stat, you see it leans more into attack. So it's going to be good for your attack-based healers. It's a great option for a champion I've already mentioned, which is Nasande. She's wonderful with this. It doesn't change the entire game, let's be clear, but you'll notice the difference in the stat screen afterwards. And that's what counts. Has your champions been doing amazing heals? Something else to mention, I mentioned Elowen, I mentioned Medan, I mentioned Nasomi, and I think Disomi, and I think I mentioned Aaron. You want to have at least one champion. Medan is probably a good fresh start. Elowen's going to be harder to come by. Disomi is probably going to be even harder to come by. You want to have at least one debuff removing champion in your team. I think there's another one. She is wait. There's another one. I forgot her. She has the ring around her. I think it's Eunomia. Yeah. Bounce heal buff. I think she has a passive that does it. There you go. Dispels all the buffs from 3 allies in range every 40 seconds. That's nice. That's good to have, but she's pretty hard to get. She's a Supreme Arbiter, so I'm not expecting you guys to have that. This is for the majority of players that probably don't have this champion, but they need some options. Last but not least, we do have one epic option. I'm gonna tell you the benefit and the negativity to it. That one is Keen Wisdom. Hear me out. Only useful. Well, let's read the review. Let's actually read the skill. When there is an ally within one tile, increases attack by 8%. This can scale up to 16%, and within 2 tiles, you don't need to worry about 2 tiles. You're gonna be next to an ally the entire time. But this is only useful on attack-based healers, and only if it's fully maxed. I would not be equipping this on my champions at this base level. This is just too insignificant increase to make a big difference. I'd likely recommend trying another option, as a stat boost themselves outclasses by a long shot. Just simply outclass it. At this level 1, this gives 440 HP and 140 attack. I'm gonna just go to Tia's Balm. Well, it's not even in this forge, that's right. I'm gonna just go to Tia's Balm. Tia's Balm starts at 2200 HP and 777 attack. Jackpot. Over 500% the value of epic. And also something else to remember, a fully maxed epic artifact does not touch the stats of a level 1 legendary artifact. A fully maxed legendary artifact does not touch the level 1 stats of a mythical artifact. I'll show you so you can see it. For example, this is level 25 of Keen Wisdom. If we're looking at just a level 1 above that, the stats are already higher in both categories, in damage and in HP. Now, I do have a fully leveled Idra's Gaze, 1950, 623. That's what you see as the max. Level 1 Nether Messenger right next to it, 2200, 777. So that's why I say it's not the best idea to max these bad boys out, because sometimes the mythical artifacts alone outclass what the epics can pull off for you just by the stat boost. Another 2200 HP is gonna outclass anything an epic artifact can do in this case. There's some examples outside of the Immortal Codex. We're here for Immortal Codex, but I wanted to equip you all because I wanted to make sure I'm doing my due diligence here and getting you guys to the rankings you can get so you can get these rewards. I'm not worried about you being the #1 player, #2 in the top 10, 15%. I'm still working through this thing. Those are my ratings so far. I'm going to try to do a little bit better on Lord of Sticks. If I come up with some more options, I'm presenting them. My goal is to make sure you guys are kicking butt in this content, because just because you see people in the high percentage rate does not mean that there's no options for you. You can kick butt in this too. Mortar Mike is here to help. So I got S+, and B. I showed you my content. I showed you why I do this stuff the way I do and how it helps out. I'll even show my team line up here so you guys can see it. So just so you can see it, this is my actual team right now. If you look over here, I have this. Oh. I got rid of them. I'm using Desomi because if you don't know, check my videos. Desomi has the best debuff removal in the game, but doesn't show up on a lot of lists because it doesn't just say debuff removal. It says magic incense, and some people just aren't clicking the next button to find out what that does. Just so you can see it. You probably may not have this champion, but here's why this is really important. 2 reasons. Magic incense gets rid of debuffs every 2 seconds. On champions that it's on, it sits for 6 seconds, has a crit rate chance of 50%. That can last for 12 seconds. So for 12 seconds, this thing could be sitting on your champions. Why is that important? Another reason. Let's go on the attributes at the top, details. Look at that range. That's the range of Vortex. So you could be removing debuffs on a ton of champions at once. Yeah, you may not have this champion, but it's good to know in case you get them. And you're like, why is this chaotic champion here? I don't like them. This is a support champion. This is not a strong heal champion. Just saying that because I heard some people saying I wouldn't use them. I got an S+ with this on me. I don't know what else to tell you. This has been your boy Mortar Mike. I appreciate you guys. I still have to do one for Lord of Sticks. I have a whole bunch of other video ideas I've been thinking of this week. I hope you guys enjoyed my collaboration with Jack Trickin. He's been breaking it down real nice in Guild v Guild. Just to give you a preview, the next video I'm going to be putting out is going to be on the attack, the offensive options in Guild v Guild. Like the different summons you can use, the different demons, different warriors you can use on the offensive side, where they're good at, what type of comps they're good to go against. We're gonna get into it because I want to make sure you guys have a wonderful time in there. And be mindful that if you're placing defenses and you're getting upset that your defenses are losing, it's supposed to lose. You're literally setting a defense and then the next day somebody goes in there, looks at your defense and thinks it's the best plan to beat it. You have no way of controlling that. So just be mindful of that. The game is given to the attackers, those that can attack really well, have a really good collection of champions, summons to pull from. I'm going to give you an idea of all the ones that I use. I'm not going to the full list because if I don't have them, it doesn't make sense to talk about them. That would mean I would be lying to you. And y'all want Mortar Mike to get some truth to y'all. So it's go time, but thankfully it is time to go. You'll have an amazing evening. I hope you guys enjoy it. You take care. I'll see you soon.